Episode 55, Stay Alive for Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
All hail.
Caesar?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is a pretty good one. We went pretty intense on The Good Book.
Uh-huh.
You might notice that the runtime for this one's over an hour. I think so. I think it's over an hour. It's definitely over an hour. Yeah,
yeah.
We went pretty hard. Yeah, what'd you learn, Vish?
I learned a lot from that good book.
It's a good book. I like how we're not referring it exactly to what it's called. So
yeah.
not getting haters. It's
Yeah.
the good book. It's the good book. It's the good book.
Yeah.
Long book, good book. All
Okay.
right. So
Boring book?
it wasn't boring because when you're indoctrinated in it,
Okay.
it's exciting because you
Okay.
like to learn the truth.
All right.
Yeah. So
Cool. Merchandise.
yeah, we'll pick up some teas on Teespring, shop.godlikemyfire.com, support the podcast. Also got Patreon, patreon.com/Socratic Gamers. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
That's it. Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. It's episode 55. Cinq on cinq.
Oh, yeah.
Still working on my French.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
So this is a regular weekly roundup. Actually, you know what? We're going to start off with a quick update on, because we said it last week, maybe we'll talk about Ocean's 8.
Oh, yeah.
Where like,
you
maybe,
saw it.
Yeah, so it's
I
like,
did not.
maybe we'll do like a movie review, but then it's like, no, we'll just make this a weekly roundup. So I checked it out on Thursday. If you like Ocean's series, go check it out. But if you're watching for a standalone movie, it's like a Netflixer. It's not the
Okay.
greatest. I mean, they redid the same jokes,
Oh.
and it wasn't as tight as the first one, I would say.
Right.
You know.
I don't know. What is it doing on the tomato meter or something?
It got 5.7 or 5.9 on IMDb.
Oh, okay.
So let that tell you. But I mean, I love Ocean series, so I'm definitely gonna watch
Heist.
all of them. I love heist stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Big heist fan. Okay, so this is the weekly roundup where we take 5 things from the week that we thought were cool and we just talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So first on the docket is the Apple keynote, which aired. When did it air?
It was on the Monday,
Oh, okay, cool.
earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And so every year they always have like an intro video
Okay.
for the developers, because mainly it's a developer conference, right? It's a WWDC.
Worldwide Developer Conference.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And so they start off the video quite interesting. It's like a nature doc.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It kind of you had like the whole, like it wasn't I don't think it was David Attenborough, but it was like that kind of voice, like as the developers come, like
Oh, yeah, I got
come
you.
in
Got you.
into
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the like coming to the WWDC, make it feel like they're all like just animals, first time coming out of their caves
Oh,
and
that's pretty
seeing the
funny.
sunlight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
as they
pretty
as
funny.
they all come together for this event.
So they're trolling. I like it.
It was kind of funny. I liked it. But the things to take away, I think, from the WWDC is for the iPhone, grouped notifications.
Okay.
So you know how on your phone when you get so many like messages or like other notifications, right? It's all like you have to scroll.
Yeah, yeah.
So it will be, if it's similar, like you send me many texts, so it'll be all like stacked.
Oh, so it'll be like 5 texts from this person or something.
Yeah, but you'll have like a shader underneath each one, but like they're stacked on top. You know what I mean?
get you what
Like
you're
a
saying.
shuffle.
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
And another one is like app limits. So like to see how much you've
Used?
used.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, like and you can set your own times to like.
Like, do not exceed this many.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good, actually. That would like.
Yeah,
help.
or you set your own timers.
Yeah, I got you. That's kind of funny because I was walking with your brother and then we were talking about how I was like, dude, doesn't that kill data? Because he was playing Pokemon Go and he's like, yeah, I use like 1.8 gigs a month, right? And I'm like, yeah, but if you only have like a 2 gig limit, then that doesn't really leave you a lot, right? And he's like, yeah, I only play Pokemon Go on my phone. But then I was like, but what happens if you go over 1.8? But now with this new feature, you won't go over. It'll just
Well,
lock it
no,
out, right?
actually, You won't ever go over unless... Because right now, I know with Kudo, and I think with many others, they do have...
A limit?
Yeah, they do have...
I don't think Rogers has one because I can just keep going.
Yeah, no, you can pay extra and keep going for under Kudo.
Yeah, okay.
So it's called like shock-free data, they call it.
Oh, so it like tells you, right?
It tells you...
Rogers and Telus, actually.
Yeah, it should tell you. I think many people get that told.
Okay.
Like,
is it Telus or Telus?
I think it's Telus.
That's what I'm saying. Telus.
So the other thing was Memoji. So last year was Animoji.
Okay.
So Memoji is making your own face
as an emoji.
That's
pretty sick. I think I heard about that one coming out. Like that was on the under the radar. Like
probably like a rumor. Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
And then next thing was
Memoji
that I found interesting was group FaceTime.
That's kind of cool.
So it's like multiple people, not just two.
It's sort of like
Skype. Yeah, it's getting to that point now.
Skype's got a similar feature.
Yes, but it's Microsoft.
That's true.
Then they revealed because it's all about operating system. Like they're all software, right? Then they revealed the Mac OS, calling it Mojave.
Oh, that's cool. What does Mojave mean?
Just another place. They're all naming it from different places in California. They find cool.
Mojave Desert?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow.
They have one in California.
Oh, I just guessed on that one. Didn't actually think it would be.
It is a desert, yeah. And then they're like, what we liked about the desert is that at night. So they made a dark mode.
What?
They made a dark mode version.
Which is sort of like YouTube.
Yeah.
And Twitter's
got everyone's got a dark mode.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially with their black laptops. It's not really black, but yeah.
Yeah.
It would match more of that stuff.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of innovation.
And in that software, or in that OS, they have this thing, because when you go to websites and stuff, you leave fingerprints, right?
Yeah.
Like your certain configurations or fonts or like plugins, like they can kind of identify you with these sort of things and sell it to data miners.
IP address and stuff.
Yeah. So
cookies, history. Yeah.
So basically, with this, they're trying to. With this Mac, this is a quote from the guy that was on there.
Mm-hmm.
Your Mac will look like everyone else's Mac. It will be dramatically more difficult for data companies to uniquely identify your device and track you. So you just look like everybody else because they'll give you only the limitations of what it can send over the internet. What information is going on.
Do you get to set those metrics?
Yes, you get to set. You can turn them off or on.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like a lot of them was like Facebook has, like they were like kind of like two-face at Facebook because of all the things that's happening to them. It's just funny.
They're what?
Like they show it off as if like Facebook and turning off this thing.
Oh,
so Facebook
right. They're trolling Facebook.
Yeah. Not trolling, but it's like, in a way to protect yourself against like Facebook or something.
Oh, that's funny.
Or like Google. Or
yeah,
whoever.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Because their direct competitors are these guys.
Right.
Based on data mining, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So they're just offering increased
privacy. Yeah, and it's also affecting their competitors.
Oh, right. Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What was that thing about they wanted to put a backdoor, FBI wanted to put a backdoor?
That was on the phones, yeah. But that didn't happen, though. They went to court with that, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Still no.
Still no. Oh, okay. So they won that.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it's not that they won that. They don't have to listen to them to do that.
Right.
It's just to, I don't know. I don't know why they were really questioning them. Something. Yeah. Yeah. That was interesting. But anyway, that's all we got from.
That's pretty cool. So is there a new? Oh, okay. So it's software.
It's just software.
No hardware.
Hardware is September for phones and other ones. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, speaking of software, which is easily crushed by solar flares, I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast with Robert Schoch. I've listened to all the other Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson ones.
Yeah.
And they talk about like how they believe that an asteroid came and hit the Earth and then like reset everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pushed us back into ancient, like we had ancient civilizations and then hence the pyramids.
Yeah.
And then an asteroid hit and then we had to reset all over again, right?
Right.
But what Robert Schoch suggests is it could have also been a solar flare. And with the solar flare, it would create like it would affect our are like weather patterns.
Yeah.
So you'd have like lightning that looked like gods in the sky, so people couldn't explain it. So that's why they thought people lived in the sky.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that you're saying is like, if we had a solar flare now, all of our digital devices would be fried. Like you lose all your internet.
Yeah, it'd
right?
become, we'd go back in like Cape Time or something.
Yeah, Cape Time, right?
Yeah.
And that's so they're saying that they also believe, because of the way the stone was cut, that they could have had electrical tools. They can't say this for certain, but just the way it was cut, it's like it couldn't have been a hand carved tool.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which I found kind of cool. So it's like, if they did have electricity, just like we have electricity, then a solar flare hit, of course we'd be punched back into the
Right.
ancient times as well. And then
So how do you protect yourselves? Like,
yeah, okay, so that was the thing. He was showing like that all around the world, people who built like ancient structures like the pyramids and stuff, and like there's like temples underground. The only thing that can like protect you from like the weather and like also solar flares would create radiation on the Earth's surface,
Oh, right.
destroying it.
Yeah.
So the only thing that would protect you would be going underground, because the stone could protect you. So that would also explain why,
Oh.
pyramids could be made out of stone.
And like those other temples that are like carved in.
Exact carved in stone. And it's like, if
caves, right, too?
Yeah, exactly. And if crazy natural disasters hit, it's like the only thing that would protect you would be the stone. Because if like, let's say something happened now, the only thing that would remain from our time is not only the pyramids, but like Mount Rushmore.
Right.
Because that one's carved in
Yeah,
stone.
yeah.
It may not be as detailed later on, like it might be crushed and whatever, but like it's the one thing that would live on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
So yeah, two contrarian beliefs, like they're going against each other. Not really going against, like there could have been an asteroid as well, but also a solar flare. But I think the real takeaway here is that history is older than we know. And like we've just been doing the same cycle over and over. And one of the cool things they were saying is like, if you look at in the last 500 years or whatever, we went from like the horseback to like flying in space. So it's like, if that's only 500 years, if we've been around for tens of thousands of years, like what did they have before us? Because like at the only places that would survive would be hunter-gatherers if a solar flare hit us right now.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Which makes you wonder about Mars too, you know what I mean? It's like, I wonder what happened on Mars, because it could have also been like, they say that there's water and stuff. What was that thing you were saying that...
Well, that'll be in the next topic.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Well, that'll be it anyways.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's just segue into that then. Because
sure. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. So mine's about, it's a website called HumanProgress, right?
So I'd like to pause really quick and say how funny it is that this website exists, because our grandmaster, one of the two, was saying that he doesn't watch, like at my original martial arts school, he's saying that he doesn't watch the news because it's so negative, and they should make like a news source that only airs good news.
Right. So what they do is, like, I was looking at some of their things. It's like some of they take sources from actual news sources, like CNN or I don't know, BBC, whatever, different things, which are good stories. They'd only like post those ones up, and their own, sometimes their own stories that are good.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah. So, at HumanProgress, it's all about what we're doing that's good for humanity, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because every time we hear the news, it's like, or someone bombed here, someone
exactly. So
shot
much
someone
negativity.
here, someone, you know what I mean? So, the thing with the Mars is, like, one of their like stories was like, Curiosity rover unearths 3 billion year old organic matter on Mars. So we don't know what that means, but
Exactly. So it's like, well, what, like, is it plants? Is it people? Like,
we don't know. I mean, this is just uncovered, right? So there's still going to be a lot of research to go into what the hell
but
that
even the
is.
fact that there was organic matter, it's like that already suggests that something was there on Mars before.
Yeah, so that also means, life isn't as like
rare.
rare, yeah.
Yeah.
So Like another one was like, people don't think about, like, because we all complain about flight fares, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, how much has actually changed from the 1950s to today? And some of them dropped drastically.
Like how much?
I was looking at, because they were all in pounds, so like just from London to Toronto used to be like 800 pounds, is like half that now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cheap, actually.
Some places were almost like 18,000 pounds.
Wow.
They dropped drastically, more than 50%. Like, so it's just crazy, the prices before, of course, and where it's at now. So
for sure.
And we're complaining now, you know, like maybe another 50 years it'll be even cheaper.
It'll be like $2.
Yeah, I mean, especially if SpaceX does their thing and they have different competition.
Reusable rockets.
Yeah. So then we have the flights would get cheaper then.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Right. So, like, that was one of them. Another one was like how, because we all talk about, oh, you know, urbanization isn't good, like capitalism and all that stuff, and we hear like suicide rates in China, but we don't realize that actually suicide rates.
Quick pause. Shout out to not shout out, but like condolences to Anthony Bourdain. It's funny you guys don't know who he was, but I was like,
like, I seen the face. I don't think I've watched his stuff.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but he was like such a trendsetter for like food culture.
I guess so. Yeah. Maybe in North America, I don't know.
Yeah, true. But
yeah. Anyway, so like the suicide rates in rural China were a lot higher, but now with urbanization, it's a lot lower.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right? Because they got jobs, right? They don't have to worry about.
See what it is like it's statistics, right? If we don't create these statistics, you know.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't.
You won't see the trends.
Framed view. Yeah, exactly.
You won't see what's actually happening.
Yeah. No, but like also, like it's like what statistics they want to report on.
Yeah.
You know, so like you're finding like alternate statistics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So yeah, and the website is really cool because you can like search up whatever they have, like up to date stuff.
Oh, cool.
For like homicides by firearms, and you can check each country what's happening. And like we always hear about the United States, but it's actually the lowest it's been.
Oh wow!
Right. But you know, of course, you want to get to like a 0 point, but it's going to take a while. But it is less than what it used to be in like 1965 or something. Or
well, makes sense.
Even 1995. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, again, it's not going crazy.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Because if you look at like back in the day, there was like the Rodney King riots and like
there was different things were happening too. Yeah. Like only places I was looking at where there were increases is like.
But I guess if you don't yell about it, you know, from the rooftops, then nobody's gonna take you seriously. We need to keep the fear mongering to push us in a specific direction because fear is a better motivator than like joy and goodness.
Yeah, of course, but you know that's something that we were saying. I think it was Steven Pinker. He was on Joe Rogan too, like because he's the one that I came across this because of him. Okay. Like it's like a flaw in us that. Of course, we're trying to survive and sort of thing, but
that's why we gravitate towards fear.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense though why we gravitate towards fear because like survival, right?
Yeah. It makes sense. It's just when you look at actual statistics, it's not the way it is, right? So, yeah, like you can there are different informations. Yeah, not just homicide. Like, what was an interesting one? Like actually it's all over. They have so many statistics like the flights thing I was talking about, the amount of rape cases, like everything. Just have to like go to their thing is called like their data section of their webpage, and you can look at each one and look at each country, what's happened, if it's increased or decreased.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but in the world picture, it has.
Who's it run by?
I don't know. It's in .org.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what it is, but it is pretty. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good site. I got.
So it's human.
I would like to more promote that. Yeah.
HumanProgress.org.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Talking about you.
Progress. So this is progress. It's still happening. We just don't see it.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting. That's cool that they give you alternate perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just look at that, you just think like, oh, the world is great.
For sure, it's like
And it is.
if you have a narrow pointed view focus.
Yeah. Like how many times they say, oh, the world is ending.
For sure.
But there was more, we were in more wars like 20 years ago, 30 years ago than now.
Fear mongering.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, we forget the past.
For sure. Which is a great segue into our next topic, unless you got anything else.
No, that's it.
All right, so this is my favorite. This is gonna be my favorite topic of all time, just because I was born. I was like indoctrinated into the Catholic religion. Went to church till I was like 25, I think. Not out of choice, but being pushed. And then eventually visited. What do you call that?
Oh, the Vatican?
Rome. Vatican, yeah. And then like listening to like the differences of the opinion of Romans as to Vaticans. They actually hate the Vatican.
Oh, that's
Romans.
interesting.
Yeah, they like they're like, oh, they're a bunch of liars and thieves.
Wait,
like, oh,
Romans or
Romans.
Wait, which Romans are you talking about? The people there?
Yeah, people there.
The Italians?
Italians.
That's just confusing.
Yeah, sure, yeah, sorry. Well, within the city of Rome, all the, like our tour guides and stuff were all like, oh, I hate the Vatican.
Oh,
We're like,
okay.
oh, no way.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting. And then like, because it's like a different city. It's sort of like how Quebec is to Canada. Right? They want to be like separate,
Yeah.
Vatican, even though Vatican is just like a small city and nobody owns a passport or something like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to preface this talk, we must understand that piece of information. We must also understand that how the good book was put together was Constantine. Well, this is what they told us in Rome, that he was on his deathbed and then he was looking, not deathbed, I guess he was dying, and then he was looking for people who could save his soul. So he went to every religion, and the only one that promised him eternal salvation was Christianity.
Oh.
Right? So then Christianity eventually became, like, they were like the minority, and then that eventually became the Catholic Church, which was like the Bible was put together by Constantine. He picked and chose what to put in there. Right.
Oh, okay.
So taking that into account, so now we'll talk about the Old Testament, because I finished the entire Bible. It took me so long. But so
Okay.
basically the whole story arc of the Bible is that God creates man, Adam and Eve. Then Adam and Eve create a race of people called the Israelites. But then these Israelites are being oppressed by the Egyptians. And then they're like servants and slaves. So then Moses sets them free. They go on this whole journey looking for the promised land promised by Moses.
Yeah.
They can't find it.
Okay.
Start getting mad at God. Then later on, like trials and tribulations, blah, 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 stuff happens. Just like it's just stories about people, like different stories. And then at Ezekiel, that's when God goes, oh, you need to convert those that don't believe in me. Right? Especially Egypt. So they go back towards these places and wage war. And then in Maccabees, that's when they actually get, like nearing the end of the Bible, that's when they start getting their, what do you call that? When like somebody petitions to be considered a different country? They get recognized.
Oh, okay.
They get recognized as being actual culture called the Jews.
Yeah.
So they go from being called the Israelites to being the Jews, because it's it's a whole religion now, which they believe in Moses. So that's the end of the Old Testament. So the Old Testament ends with them becoming recognized as being an actual culture.
Yeah.
And then enter the New Testament. A person called Jesus comes. He says, I was prophesied by Moses to change what he said.
Yeah.
Jews don't like that. They get really pissed. And they kill him.
Okay.
Because people like get confused. They think that it was the Romans that killed him, but multiple times the Romans like, I don't know what's going on, guys. Like, it was in there. He's like, Pontius Pilate was like, yo, why are you guys upset at him? And then they're like, because he tries to blaspheme us and blah blah blah. And then
makes sense.
And then Pilate was even like, he's like, hey, it's like the Sabbath, or like there's like a special holy time, and he's like, I'm allowed to let one prisoner go. Who do you want me to let go? This murderer Barabbas or Jesus, the King of the Jews? And they're like let go of Barabbas, and he's like, are you guys sure? So he asks them like 3 times, like, hold up, this is a murderer, guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't care, kill Jesus. So anyways, kill Jesus, and then the Acts of the Apostles are the people who go out after Jesus' death, and they like talk about the great things that Jesus did, namely Paul, who eventually, I believe he was the one who was crucified upside down on the place where St. Peter's Basilica now stands in the Vatican.
Right.
Some accounts say that he was also burned at the footsteps of the Roman, what do you call that? The Roman Senate, like outside the steps. They like burned him alive.
Yeah.
That's what they told us in Rome.
Okay.
And then in the Vatican, they're like, oh, that's where he was crucified upside down. So it's like, okay, I don't know which account's correct.
Right.
And then after that, they finish off with the Revelations, which is basically John the Baptist's vision of the end of the world.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the whole story arc. Long, very long.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's funny because like people, like if you're Christian, right, you primarily focus on, nobody reads the Old Testament, everyone reads the New Testament. But if you don't read the full thing, you don't get the context of what really happened.
Yeah.
You just think like, oh, Jesus was like hated on, persecuted, but it's like, no, there was this whole lineage prior. He just came in and was like, I need to change things up.
Okay.
Right? He's like, Moses was wrong about his... I think the only thing they disagreed with Moses on, like the primary one that they kept bringing up, was that the adultery one. So if you marry someone, Moses said you can have a piece of paper that says that you're divorced, and then you guys can split up.
Oh, okay.
Jesus said that Moses was wrong. What is bound together by God cannot be broken. So once you're married for life. That's why Filipinos don't believe in divorce.
Right.
It's in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Let's just segue back. Old Testament now. So what I truly believe is, let's preface this again. When looking into the sun, you must wear glasses because it could blind you if you're not ready for it. So if you do not want to hear this, I would suggest stopping the podcast now. Okay.
Some serious shit.
Yeah. So knowing the way it was compiled, I truly believe that the Old Testament and the New it's basically the Bible, is a propaganda piece by the Romans.
Oh, shit.
All right, so the reason why this makes sense is because if you look at economically, by when this Bible was created, the primary powers were Egypt and Rome. Right? Greece was there too, but like Greece was kind of wavering. But like Egypt was the strongest power. Like they had like the money. Like if you play the game, this is why it's so interesting to like learn about history and then read these texts, because then you get the context, right? So you play that game, Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour. You see that Egypt was so prosperous that nobody had to really work. They were all artists, right? Whereas like Rome was trying to struggle for power, right? So what's the best way to get people to go against Egypt and destroy them? If not like directly saying that they're like, we're gonna crush you economically, you do it through belief systems. So the entire Old Testament is about how evil Egypt is. They're the ones who oppressed the Israelites, and like they were in power. It's sort of like, I guess if you want to contextualize it, you can see the Old Testament as being like the U.S. is like Egypt, and then the 99%, the people who don't have the wealth. Bless you. And the people that don't have the wealth are like the minorities. You know, like those people like, oh, we need like to occupy Wall Street and stuff. Those are, you consider them like the Israelites.
Oh, okay,
which makes sense as to why a lot of people, you know, fall back on like the Bible, because it's like, oh, we people who are like feel like they're being oppressed. Like if you're in a lower socioeconomic class, you want something to believe in,
right?
You know, yeah, and a lot of the prayers in the Psalms in like Old Testament and stuff, like where they're like, oh, God is with me and stuff. Those are all war prayers. So so that's pretty interesting. So it also makes sense why like people who go, they say like there's no atheists in foxholes.
Okay.
Right? It makes sense, like, why they're all, like, Catholic and they pray and stuff, because it's like, yeah, because you need something to believe in, and you need to believe that a God is out there who's going to help you smite your enemies, right? So the Old Testament's all about war, and, like, and loving God. Which is pretty interesting too, because the book started with a lot of acacia stuff. So like Moses was like,
Oh, okay.
Like God was like, you have to
yeah.
build everything has to be built out of acacia. But then now we know through science that acacia trees are high in DMT, which is like the strongest psychedelic known to man.
Yeah.
Right. We release it when we're dreaming. That's why you believe you're in the dream, because it's so like it controls all your senses that you get absorbed into it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you take that into account as well, so it's like, all right, the whole Bible started off with all this acacia stuff, and then Moses, like, which is also another interesting thing, is they don't mention that Moses' brother Aaron is the one who helped him primarily through all this.
Oh.
Yet everyone glorifies Moses.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. But I believe that's Western propaganda as well, because it's like, you need to believe that one man can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Interesting.
So I guess that would be all for the Old Testament.
Oh.
So now we get into like that's primarily the key takeaways that I got. So I also, there's not that many mentions of the devil
in the Old Testament.
Yep. Like I think he's brought up only like twice, right?
Oh, okay.
There were mentions of magicians and sorcerers though. I was like, oh, you guys believe in magicians and sorcerers? It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found really interesting too is that they have like this obsession with circumcision.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, but I get it, because it's like, so God said I think it was Abraham. He's like everyone who goes past you must be circumcised to show that like I am your God or whatever.
Yeah.
And
they want to. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's like the sign of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they're like obsessed with that, which is I found kind of weird. And even in the New Testament, they kept bringing it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, all right. So now it brings me to the New Testament. Basically, the evil that keeps being brought up is greed and sex. So they keep saying like adultery is bad and you should not be super evil.
All right. Okay.
Right. So that's the primary downfalls of man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where's the rock star? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
Something like
Is
that.
that something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
funny.
anyways.
Yeah.
Money and women. That's those are the powers.
Okay.
So brings you to the New Testament. Very interesting. The 4 Gospels of Jesus all depict Jesus in a very different way.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So like each of them is like, it depends. So I remember I was like texting you, and I was reading Matthew, which is the first one.
Yeah.
So it goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then each one progressively gets more and more dark.
Okay.
Which is, I'm like, holy, you guys are getting next level on me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, Matthew, I was like, oh, I totally believe in this Jesus. Like, he's super cool. He's like, he was like, they call it the Sermon on the Mount. I don't think they even called it that in the Bible. It's just what people refer to as. Mm-hmm. And like, basically, he was just talking about how to live your life. The primary takeaway that I liked was enjoy today, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Right. And then what you find out is in Mark, Luke, and John, as it gets darker, there is no Sermon on the Mount. Okay. So it's like, okay, that was only a Matthew thing, because the Matthew Jesus was... do you remember Dogma?
The movie?
Yeah. Do you remember Buddy Christ?
Little bit. I don't know. I don't really remember anything.
I want to buy that statue because it's so cool. It was Jesus doing like 2 gunshots.
Oh,
like,
right. Yeah.
He's like winking, Buddy Christ.
Oh, okay,
so that's like a Matthew Jesus. Like he's like the cooler one. But then like it's weird because like he had a lot of good things to say, and then halfway through, he starts to go.
There must have been like different tribes of followers.
I guess, yeah,
like,
right.
Like the Matthew followers.
Yeah, I know. Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. It's like, which gospel do you believe?
Yeah.
And like, which version of Jesus do you believe?
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because you can't pick and choose. Right? You know, it's like either you got to take the events that are consistent throughout and then use those. But like the Sermon on the Mount's only in Matthew, so it's like, well, then that's technically not real because you got 1 out of 4. You know, you got like a 25% inaccuracy there. You know, but then like him being crucified happened in all 4, so it's 100% accuracy.
Right.
You know, so what was saying, buddy Christ. Yeah, he was like, so then halfway through, he actually said, like, I have not come to bring peace but the sword. And then he's like, and then that's when I was like, okay, you're feeling yourself too hard now, Jesus. And then that's when he got eventually crucified, because like, he's going like power hungry on there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. This is so blasphemous. Technically, I grew up Catholic.
Really,
I went to the Vatican. The last thing to do is read the Bible.
Isn't this what you're reading in the Bible, though?
That's what I'm saying. I did all my alms.
So how is this blasphemous when it's in the Bible?
I'm a true follower, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, because what do other people do? You know what I mean? So, so then it gets progressively dark.
Yeah.
Mark and Luke, and then the darkest one is John, because that's where you ever see Passion. You saw Passion of the Christ, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, like then they spit on him, they put all the crown of thorns. So every year on Good Friday, we all reenact the Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was always
I think in the Philippines they even like
they actually like crucify them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, this is so dark, guys. Like, why are we always doing that? Because in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it's not that bad. It's just like, yeah, he just got crucified. Stuff happened, you know what I mean? But then, like, in John, they go into detail. Right?
Okay.
So it's like, oh, man, they're like spitting on him, beating him, and do all this craziness. So then here's the plot twist. John is John the Baptist, the one who baptized Jesus, right?
Right.
But see, John had a vested interest, because before Jesus was John was the one saying the day of reckoning is here. He was an extremist.
Okay.
Right. And then I think it was Luke, in the Bible of Luke, he gets imprisoned and killed, but yet he's still alive preaching in the John gospel. So it's like, okay, so Luke's a liar.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just not right. It's like contradictory. So then, but this is how they get you. They say, like, if it's contradictory, they say you just do not believe correctly. You're going to hell. It's cold. Just doing my factual research, guys. So then, what else? So John is the extremist. So in John's gospel, Jesus is like the way and the light, man. Like, he is like here to save your soul. But also in John's gospel, whenever Jesus was preaching, the Jews always referred to him as having a demon inside of him.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they're like, oh, you're demonically possessed. And Jesus is like, no, how can I be demonically possessed if I'm speaking the word of God? You know, and then he said, and then this is funny, he goes, I will have eternal life, like, after this.
Yeah.
And then they all said, that's how we know you have a devil inside of you, because Moses and Adam, you know, Adam and Eve, they both couldn't escape death. Yet you're saying you can escape death. Thus, you must be evil.
Right.
Because nobody escapes death. Which is the primary takeaway of Jesus, why people follow him, is because, like, people are natural fears, we're afraid of dying.
Yeah.
So if Jesus comes to you and promises eternal life, of course people are going to take it, right? So if you can't accept death, then Jesus is for you. Yeah. But if you can't accept death, then you'll look at it from a different viewpoint. You'll be like, were the Jews onto something? What's going on here? You know, like, maybe.
Right. Interesting.
So that's why he had to die and resurrect himself, because if he didn't die, he wouldn't have proved that he could escape death.
Yeah.
But then it also makes you think that, like, well, what if it was just a doppelganger? What if him and his, like, twin brother were like, yo, we're gonna, like the Prestige.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Prestige, where he had his like actual twin, and he lived his whole life as a secret person, which makes sense, because throughout the whole gospel, like, Jesus performed miracles.
Yeah.
So if you can perform these miracles, you're surely some sort of magician.
Right.
You know, not saying he was.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Logically speaking. You know the whole, like, walking on water thing?
Yep.
That was only in one gospel, and it was mentioned so briefly. When I read it, I was like, I didn't even think that he was floating on water. Like, if you read it, you're not thinking he's floating on water. It's just so like, this is so crazy. So, like, they're going to get some fish, and then it says, then Jesus walked on water to grab the fish, and then he came back. Something like that. It was, like, so in passing.
Oh, okay.
It was just so, and when I read it, I was like, yeah, he just walked in the water.
Oh, that's probably what it is. Yeah,
right? and then he's like, and then
that'd be like a crazy
the disciples were scared, and I was like, well, maybe they're just scared because Jesus was like a intense, like, you listen to me or else, like we don't understand the context.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, it wasn't like, and thus he floated on water and then showed his might. It wasn't like that. It was like, he walked on the water, grabbed some fish and walked back.
Oh.
And it was like, I had to reread it because I'm like, wait, is this the walking on water scene? Because this is not that special. And it was only in one gospel as well.
So also not
It's
true.
not in
That's
all.
true.
It's not in all gospels. So they got a 1 out of 4. They got 25% on that accuracy meter.
Interesting.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like people pick and choose what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So then, let's take into account that Jesus he did. Oh, and so like in the John Gospel, he's full blown like, you must follow me or else you will die. He does say something a little weird. He's like, I'm gonna bring mother against daughter, daughter against mother, man against son. And I was like, that's a little negative.
What? Okay.
It's a little negative there. So weird.
All right. Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. He didn't explain it. He's just like, I've come to separate man or something like that. And I was like, well, I guess like if you want to read into it as an analogy, like, oh, I've come to separate you from your attachments. Like that's what you could say technically.
Okay. Why didn't you just say that?
But it's like,
right.
Like you're just taking. I'm just pulling that to make him a positive guy.
Yeah.
But what if he literally did mean? Because he did say, I'm coming with the sword.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And also the way the disciples were pulled together is there's different versions of that. Like in one version, I think John's version, Jesus had many people that followed him. He chose only 12.
Okay.
And then in the other versions, they just appeared out of nowhere. It was kind of weird.
Oh.
I think one of the disciples was also the son of John. So it's like, okay, well, you got a vested interest. Your son's a part of the crew, you know. So anyways, that brings us to Jesus' death. Then they get the Acts of the Apostles where people start preaching the word of Jesus. Not the word of God, the word of Jesus.
Oh.
So it's not about God anymore. It's Jesus is the way. Jesus is the way and the light. And all that stuff.
See.
So it's like, okay, I can get why the Jews were a little pissed now because you just disregarded Moses. And we're like, it's not about Moses, guys. It's about me.
Yeah.
But how do you know that he wasn't just like a philosopher who read all the scriptures and was like, dude, I could totally, like an Osho. You know, if you watch, if you want to get a good sense of what we're talking about, watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix. That could be a possibility. That could happen because Jesus was saying some true stuff, but his like what he desired out of it was negative.
Yeah, right.
Just like Osho.
Yeah.
You know, like Osho was saying some true stuff, but Osho wanted power. Maybe Osho even read it. He was like, I could do this too. You know what I mean?
That's quite possible.
Right. So then the apostles is all about how these people, namely Paul, who was burned or hung upside down. Paul, the starter of Jesus' church. They say he's like the first one. He was exiled to Crete, and the letters to Paul were just like people were asking him. He lived in Crete for a long time, and then he was like, what do you call that? He was converting people, teaching them.
Oh.
Which is another interesting note is the Holy Spirit said that they could not go to Asia. They're barred from going to Asia.
Oh.
I was in there, and I was like, that's a little weird.
But
But then they did spread to Asia because after 2 years of like the goodness, it naturally spread to Asia. That's what it said. Like he wasn't allowed to go there according to the Holy Spirit, but it ended up going there because people heard the word.
Oh.
And the word was good.
Okay.
And then so then the final thing is, this is really interesting, the revelations that everyone talks about. It's basically the end of the world. They prophesize the end of the world. And it's so damn negative. It's like that's where, so basically what happens is, so the Jews say, no, we don't believe in you, Jesus. So then they kill him. And then the world is getting out of hand. God sends down 7 natural disasters.
Okay.
Right, to destroy us.
Yeah.
Kills off most people. So you can think of Revelations like Thanos and Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
So most people are dead. Then there's a war in heaven. Michael sends the dragon, aka the devil, down from heaven, and then he's trapped in hell. No, not hell. Sorry, he's trapped on Earth. And then while on Earth, he rules over Earth.
Yeah.
People follow the devil.
Okay.
And then And then God is like, that's not cool. So he sends 7 plagues now to like kill us.
Yeah.
And after he kills the majority, the angels come down from heaven, and then they force the devil to go to hell, where he's burned. But check this out: only for 1,000 years. So every 1,000 years, the devil escapes.
Okay.
He's allowed back on Earth. Every 1,000 years. Find that a little interesting. And what else? So, and then Jesus reveals himself to be the morning star, which we Googled after, which is the devil and Jesus are both called the morning star, but Jesus is the bright morning star, meaning he's the opposite of the devil. So basically, both are in favor of God, but it's like, which way do you want to go about it? Positive or negative? Following Jesus' love or the devil's greed? But if you really look at it, it's like the control mechanism used by Jesus is also negative. So it's like, which one are you going to follow?
Okay.
Yeah. But then the big plot twist that I didn't tell you about is all of Revelations is based off of John the Baptist, aka the extremist, aka the person you go downtown and they're like, the end is near, the end is near. He's that guy.
Oh, I see.
Right. Yeah. The Revelations is based off of John's vision. So like, basically John either had a dream or a vision, or he was on drugs, and then he wrote about this, and it's all from his account. So it's like, and then I saw the devil come down, and then I saw the 7 plagues, and they said to the earth, he's doing it from a witness position, like he's going through it and witnessing all these negative things. So John the Baptist. So then we were saying, like, there's different versions of it, right? So like, the peaceful Christians, like the Protestants or whatever, maybe those are the Matthew ones, and like
that's
the Catholic ones are the John
sense.
ones,
Makes
because that's why I read all from John's Bibles or Gospels.
Yeah, there's also like missing Gospels. That's what I would have heard about. But
there's the Gnostic Gospels. I have books on that. I was gonna read that.
There's like the ones where Jesus was never crucified.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was called. But...
So in the Gnostic Gospels, they say that Jesus, after he died, so there's doubting Tom, right? Gnosticism, aka knowledge.
Knowledge
is based off of Thomas.
Okay.
They call him doubting Tom because when Jesus arrived, Thomas is like, I don't believe it's you. I need proof, right?
Okay.
So that's why he lets him touch his holes, like the where he's nailed, and then Thomas is like, oh, like you really are him, which is interesting because how far will you go for your magic trick? So if you watch Prestige, he cuts off his own finger because his brother loses his finger, so it's like we got to be the exact same.
Right. Yeah. Damn.
And like they'll take turns, like pretending that they're the person, whereas like his brother was one of them. What it was this bodyguard, remember?
Right.
So like, well, we don't know. And then which is interesting. I can't remember which one it is. There's a whole Old Testament chapter, and I was like, oh, this is where you got the Matrix. Not the Matrix itself, like the idea. But they got all the names from. Remember, he's like, we have to go to Zion. Right. Zion. Nebuchadnezzar.
Right. Oh, it's all from.
They're all
in the Bible.
Bible names.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like when I saw Nebuchadnezzar, I'm like, there's a ship.
Yeah, there's reasons why we probably named them.
It's true.
I guess. We just never looked into it.
And then, like, if you look at the Matrix, like they're seeking out Zion, which is like this holy land, which is also in that chapter.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the Matrix.
It's the metaphors.
Yeah. So that was a very long-winded one.
Crazy book.
Yeah, it's craziness. Like, if you believe it, I kind of see it like this. Like, you have to ask yourself, like, am I afraid of dying? If you are, then you're gonna gravitate towards this. But if you're not, then most likely you'll see it for what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Just a piece of literature.
Yeah. That's all it is.
A sacred piece of literature. that must be followed because just saying.
John the Baptist said so.
Because John the Baptist said so. It's all John the Baptist. Yeah. And you'll be baptized by fire. I don't know, there's a lot of craziness in that stuff if you really pull it together. A lot of like anti-women stuff in there.
Oh,
and like,
okay. Yeah. I've heard about that. Interesting.
Oh, but what I found really interesting is that the apostles, like the Acts of the Apostles, were like they're pulling stuff out of the thin air, man. Like Jesus never said any of those things, but then they're just creating stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't think any of those, even the Gospels, they existed during his time, if it did exist.
Right. They're made like later.
Yeah,
exactly. So like there's some stuff in
like,
there, like in the letters. You have to be a good child to your parents and do everything that they say.
Mm-hmm.
Also in the letters. So basically the letters, the Acts of the Apostles, kind of outline why Catholicism does the things it does. You ever hear of like not confirmation. What do you call that? Confession.
Yeah.
Like we have to go to confession like once a year. That's because in the letters to Paul or letters to John, he outlines how like you can undo your sins if you're honest with God. So that's why you have to tell the priest all of your bad behavior.
I think that's only in. Is that only in the Catholic Church?
I guess because it's only
I think so.
And then there's also why they don't take wives. It's in there because they marry themselves to God.
Okay. Yeah,
That's actually in there.
Yeah.
They like marry themselves to God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also plot twist. God has a name.
Oh, what's his name?
Elijah. So on the cross, Jesus is calling out for Elijah.
Mm.
And they just translated that to like, they said that like, oh, that just means God. But it's like, sounds like a name to me. Just like how Moses' God is Yahweh. But I don't remember that. I got to recheck that because that was like a while back. But I don't think that Moses' God had a name.
No.
I don't think he gave himself a name.
Okay.
But they talk about other gods in there. Alexander the Great makes an appearance in the Bible. Cleopatra makes the appearance in the Bible. Zeus is mentioned.
Was it Alexander the Great?
Yeah, it's Alexander the Great.
There's
two. No, there's two. There's Alexander. I forgot his last name. There's Alexander the King, which is Alexander the Great, and then Alexander something who gets killed. I had to Google that because I was like, is this the same Alexander? And they said like, yeah. When they say King Alexander, that's Alexander the Great. But then when they say Alexander, it's just the other Alexander who gets killed.
And other Alexander?
Yeah, just Alexander's a common name.
I guess at that time.
Yeah. Speaking of common names, Andrew is one of the 12 disciples. I didn't know that. There's also two Judases.
Judas? Okay.
Yeah, which makes no sense because there's two Simons. And then I guess Jesus was like, man, I'm getting confused. Yeah, I'm going to call you Peter and you're Simon.
Okay.
And then, so like, it's like, well, there's two Judases. Wouldn't you call them two different names too? Jesus probably got lazy. He's like, nah, bro. We already went through this. However,
the confusion of the story.
However, he called Thomas, Doubting Tom, twin.
Oh.
So it's like their gangster names, you know? Like,
right, yeah.
What else, Smiley? You know?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a good book.
Oh.
It is the good book. You know, it's the most sold book of all time.
Oh, yeah. Who read the most of the...
For sure, yeah. But you know what's funny?
It's like,
the statistic should be this. It's the most sold book of all time, but the most unread book of all time.
Yeah, too. That's true, too. Because, each hotel they make, there's also another Bible in there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's not really... No one's reading that.
It's sort of like if you look at your kill-death ratio in Halo. It's like it's got a negative kill-death ratio. It's like how many people bought it compared to how many people read it. You know what I mean? So it's like, which is kind of funny because they kind of do it like that. Like in Catholic school, it's like you just need to buy the Bible so that it's with you.
Yeah. I think I even have an old small Bible.
Oh really? Yeah. So the essence is with you, but you don't need to read it.
Nah.
But it's like, bro,
I'm already saved.
Yeah, we don't need to read it.
You don't need to read that.
Allegedly. Nowhere did if you actually look at the history too, it was all in Latin and only certain
Yeah.
people could read it.
Yeah.
But then I think his name was Luther, Martin Luther, the
Okay.
Lutheran Bible.
Yeah.
He translated it all, and he's like, oh, the people have a right to read it themselves, because like the priests were like using it as a form of power back in the day.
Oh.
So then he translated it into German, because that was his native tongue, and then people started reading it, and they're like, oh, we don't actually need you anymore, and that like killed the church. And then I think they got pissed at him, tried to kill him.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Or-
But it's like, how many people do you see claim to be like the returning of Jesus, right? And we don't believe them.
Yeah.
But then how much do they believe it? Just like Jesus believed it in the Bible, because all the Jews were saying that he's actually a demon-infested person.
Oh,
and
right. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how many people were like, oh, you just have schizophrenia, you're not really.
Mm.
And then like 1,000 years from now, it's like, they're like, actually, he was the one. That's why I gravitate more towards the Taoism now. It's more like, just look at the lessons of life.
Yeah.
And just appreciate life.
Of course.
Because you don't really need anyone to save you. You save yourself. But that's what Jesus said too, save yourself. So I think that's what he meant.
Hmm.
Well, that's the Matthew version, the yogi chill version.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and wait, final thing. The old, actually no, both of them, both versions of God in the old and new, they both wanted everyone to follow them. Like they were, like they're saying how like even though other gods exist, they're not real compared to me, because I am salvation.
Yeah, of course they'll say that. I mean,
Yeah, so it's like, but then again, if you look at the economics of it, like if the Romans did put this together, the easiest way to conquer the world is through religious belief systems, right? Because like you can't, if you rule through fear, right? Oh, if you don't believe me, God will come and burn you for eternity.
Yeah.
AKA Revelations, i.e. Revelations is where it's in. Yeah.
It's crazy book. People should read that though.
They should.
Make your own decisions.
For sure. But again, kill death ratio is pretty bad. So.
Mm.
Okay, so the final topic.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Whew, that was a long one. It actually ties into this. It's my philosophical question of the week. Will enlightenment be brought about through the internet?
Now, what's the definition of enlightenment?
All right,
What are we talking about?
Will understanding be brought about through the internet? Will a better understanding of the world be brought about through the internet?
I think it will, but there's also pockets that it won't, I think.
Actually, this is... Oh, wow. You know what? You just gave me a counterpoint. So I was going to say that if you actually look at it, yes, the internet will bring enlightenment, because it allows us to access, right? Like I can order more books on Amazon. I can listen to podcasts. I can you guys can listen to us talk. We can share ideas. We can, tweet each other, whatever, and all that. But then what you're speaking of is also true, because we fall into these, what do you call these?
Voxels? What do you call them?
No, they're
I
like
don't know what you call them.
little
Rabbit
micro
holes.
sounding boards. Rabbit holes, yeah. Sounding boards of like, you can fall into like a thing where everyone is saying the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have no free thought. Like I like what you do, but I have no time to do what you do. Like you listen to both sides. Like you'll listen to like people who are ultra extremist and then ultra liberal.
Right.
Right, but I don't have time to do that. Like I only listen to like people who relate to me.
Yeah.
So like I guess the real truth of that, the real answer to that is that the internet will bring enlightenment, but it'll also bring ignorance.
Yeah.
Depends on how you use it. It's like a tool.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people, they can just stay in their like niche circles.
Yeah, in their bubbles,
and, in their bubbles, yeah. Like if you're like a freaking
vegan.
If you're like a vegan, yeah, it's a great example. Vegan bubbles. You'll just find communities online, and then just like, oh, I hate everyone that's not, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then the people that are open to that, they'll just find communities that are open. So it's sort of like we're finding like different groups, collective niches.
Yeah.
That we want to gravitate towards. So it's like is this the age of enlightenment? Yes, but it's also the age of ignorance.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it, it's like not everyone's willing to, like, even, all right, so like look at it our way. So we're like, okay, we're looking at this piece of text as like a piece of text. Like, you can derive lessons from it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But then people who believe it to be like the way and the truth, they won't listen to us, just like we won't listen to them.
No.
Right? I will never agree with them because that's my perspective of the world.
Yeah.
So it's like you'll never reach a universal state of enlightenment because nobody can know the same things.
Yeah.
Because how can the world be enlightened if I can't even understand discrete mathematics? You know what I mean? It's like other people will know stuff that I will never comprehend knowing.
Yeah.
No matter how hard I try.
Right.
Right? Like quantum physics.
Mm-hmm.
I will never understand that.
Yeah.
Right? But like other people, like scientists do. So it's like, you know, it's like how can you say that we'll all be enlightened?
That's true.
Because nobody's on the same page. See, like, it's funny because like true truth is negative, but people. So like for like one of the young Yoda quotes, I wrote like, nobody's equal or something like that, and like stop wishing yourself to be. Mm-hmm. Nobody's made equal. Yeah. Stop wishing yourself to be. And it's like at first glance you're like, that's super negative, but it's like, no, it's actually positive because it's about how you should look at yourself as a special being, right? Don't try and be like everyone else.
Yeah.
It's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. But
yet we want world peace and like everyone to be on the same page. It's like, that's impossible. I truly think that the people that, this is so opinionated, but I truly believe that the people that advocate world peace and all that just haven't spent enough time in other circles.
They haven't seen the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you need to hang out with people that do not think like you.
Mm-hmm.
See, I guess from that point of view, it's like you watch these things. I like to surround myself in circles of people that I do not think like, because I get to like experience. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. Like I've never,
yeah.
Like I've never been in that situation, but then like the way they believe their certain thing, which is also why I like knowledge, because like if you understand something,
knowledge, yeah, sorry,
Gnosticism, yeah.
No, I just the word knowledge has been now stuck to that guy that does that YouTube.
I don't know
those commercials. Remember?
No.
The guy with those fancy cars.
It's Ty Cruz.
Yeah. Knowledge.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Here's why I read a book a day. So, yeah. Right?
Knowledge.
You guys want money? I'll tell you guys how to get money. Subscribe to my channel so I can get money.
Knowledge. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So I think so knowledge is a great tool because like knowledge is power. So you can adapt according to somebody's belief, because if you understand how a bunch of belief systems work, it's like, okay, well, I need to pretend like I know this now. I need to pretend like I know this now. You know, it makes you very adaptable, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you could say like not appreciative, but like understanding. It's like, oh, you're doing this because of this,
right? Yeah.
You know, so it's like I got asked this question like, oh, now that you've read it and like, well, are you going to convert people? I'm like, no, man, like people need this thing. Some
people are not at the mindset they need to be to like fully understand the other side of it.
Yeah, or you could even say that we're at a mindset where we don't like. It's like
yeah.
You know, it's like the negative version of that. It's like we're saying like, oh, like you should understand that this for what it is, but they're saying like, no, you just don't have enough faith. Both are true. I just don't place faith outside of myself. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds so negative.
Why?
I know. Oh, speaking of which, indoctrination is I think this is where we'll end off the thing. I was trying to polish it off last night, like read the full thing, and it was like 1:30 in the morning. It's just a funny story. And you and Tara were both asleep, and I was like out here reading, and I got so scared because I knew I was hitting the end, and then I just heard like
he was gonna go to hell after this.
Yeah, my mind was creating like demonic things, and like I envisioned like the devil was beside me, and then it's like, no, but that's just years and years of like hammering into my subconscious that there is this thing called the devil. And like, but it's like that's only in one. Now that I've read it, it's like that's only in one gospel. Not even it's not even a gospel. That's only in one segment, which is Thomas's revelations.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, if I just don't believe in Thomas's revelation, it's like, well, then that won't hurt me. But because of Hollywood, because of what teachers have told you as you're growing up, and like you're at a very sensitive age, you get very like ingrained into thought patterns, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you...
Yeah, there's a lot of people that same thing there. They find the difficulty to leave a religion because they take a long time because of this fear.
To unprogram...
Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
like your pattern responses.
Yes.
You know. So like, why is it that as I'm coming to the end of the Bible, I'm imagining like the devil coming to get me? It's like, you know too much now. Gotta kill you.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, but then if I'm not afraid of death, this is how I was able to sleep, because I was like so scared even going to sleep. I was like, oh God, oh my God, you're gonna come. And I was like, you know what? Like, well, what if I do die? Who cares, man? It's fine. Death happens to us all. And then that's how you overcome death and you live eternal.
Yeah.
By coming to realize. See how I did that? Little spin there. You want eternal salvation? Realize that death is just a process and that you will live on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
So we got next week we're gonna check out Banksy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our weekly roundup. We're gonna hit it up on Saturday.
And E3 starts today with the EA's conference.
Yep.
I'm excited for Sony's and Microsoft's. That's tomorrow. Microsoft. Sony's is on Monday.
We're going to try and play some GTA. Hopefully, if there's time. Stay tuned for our GTA sessions.
Oh, yeah.
And, wax philosophical and pursue understanding.
Knowledge.
Pursue knowledge. And seek out experiences, and then that will give you truth, but it'll only be your truth because it's your wisdom of your knowledge and experience.
Sure. Knowledge
plus experience equals wisdom.
Cool.
Wait, hold on, quick pause. So we know that knowledge plus experience equals wisdom, right? So like when Jesus was like in the synagogue and he was like saying all these things, they're like, how could this is pretty interesting. So they're like, how could this person have so much wisdom? And I was like, yeah, he's probably just read a lot and he's like experienced a lot, right? Knowledge plus experience. And then they said this really interesting thing. They're like, no, Jesus said, he's like, oh, I cannot preach in my hometown, because like everyone started saying like, isn't this just the boy of Joseph?
Oh,
right. They saw him for just being human, and that's when Jesus was like, oh, I can't preach here because like you guys just see me as being human, but I'm more than human.
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't that how it always is?
Delusional, man.
It is a little delusional.
Yeah.
I didn't say it, you said it. I'm not going to be burned.
No, I don't believe in that anyway. So
it's true, you're Hindu. So, and that was, again, I brought this up many times, but you were the impetus for me realizing that there are some things out there that are different.
Oh, okay.
And it took me, how old am I? 29 years of living to finally read the Bible and be like, oh, that's what it's all about? Interesting.
What's next?
In that trilogy? I will read the Quran and I will read the Vedas next.
Oh, okay. I thought you read the Vedas.
No, I read Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of the Vedas, and I read the Upanishads.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a part of the Vedas.
I have no idea either.
Yeah.
Since I'm not really a follower.
The Vedas based off of 4 primary texts. So, like, the reason why I'm reading the Vedas is because, like, another big thing is, like, yogis, right? All these yogis are, like... That's why it's, like, funny, because I'm like, yeah, well, I've read the Bhagavad Gita. Have you guys read it? You know? Now it's like, yeah, I've read the full Bible. Have you guys read it? You know? Because, like, how can you base your opinion off of... Like, how can you preach so heavily
yeah.
on a certain topic if you haven't done the research to figure out the topic?
Right.
You know?
True.
You know what would have been crazy at the end of this if I was like, you know what? He was right. I need to follow this. But I think it's because I already overcame my fear of death that I was like, oh, you're just selling me goods I can't even take with me to the next life.
It's yeah.
It's like, how will I know that I'll have exactly? How will I know I'll have eternal salvation? You won't know. You don't have a brain or a cerebral. You don't have a, what do you call that? Spinal. central nervous system to tell, right? So it's like, how can you burn in hell if you don't have a central nervous system? But they didn't have science back then. So it's like, you're selling me goods that you don't even know are real. Because they thought that consciousness, your awareness, your active awareness was created solely outside of the body.
Right.
But now we know that you can't interpret anything without a central nervous system. So how, if my body's destroyed, how will I know I'm even living?
Right.
Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
Science.
That's true.
That's probably why they're like, that's why they went through the Dark Ages. Like, science was on the rise, and then they started to kill off all the scientists because they're like, science is the devil. Why is science the devil? Because it doesn't allow us to exercise our control mechanism. Wow, that's so negative. We do it all the time. Scientology is a new one.
That's true.
There's so many cults. Even like,
maybe you should read the Mormon book too.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the Scientology book as well.
Because I think that one has Jesus was born in the U.S. or something.
Oh God! All right. There's only so much I can fill
the new Jesus or whatever.
There's only so much I can fill my time with.
Like 1968. I don't know what the year was. Just
hopefully this is the longest out of all the reads. Like, I'm hoping the next ones that I read aren't as long as this one, because this one took me 5 months.
God damn.
I know, right? It's like discipline, though. It's just like, I had to keep leaving and coming back because I like lost my interest. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do it. No, yeah, you know. It was like 1,200 pages or something like that.
Oh, and small text.
And so
it's not really that much. It's more
ultra small text, and it's written in 2 columns within 1 page. So it's like really condensed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. How many people do it? It's like running a marathon. Get out there and do it. All right, till next time.
I mean, yeah. All right, yeah. Just a quick thing.
Yeah.
If the priests have read this book.
Yo, that was my other thing. I want to talk to, because I know my cousin, he did seminary school in the Philippines, and then he dropped out because he's like, halfway through, he was doing it. He was like, all right, so the story goes that he was super devout as a child. He was so good, went to seminary school, dropped out because he realized, oh, it's all a sham, and then became like the black sheep of the family.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's his life.
Damn.
So I want to talk to him and be like, did they make you read the Bible in seminary school? You know what I was thinking too? Catholic teachers who haven't read the Bible shouldn't be teaching in Catholic school.
I don't even think there should be
Catholic school?
Religious schools.
Yeah, but we're a Roman-occupied
No, but there's other religious schools
culture.
too. I'm just saying in general.
No, but like,
or you can
Catholic
have
school's
it.
a major one.
Yeah. Or you can have it, but they can be private.
No, there's private schools.
No, I know, but Catholic school is not private.
Yeah,
it's still funded by public money. That's what I mean.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You're saying like where they get their money.
Like you can do those schools.
But again, see like this stuff just goes back to historical arguments. This is why you got to learn about history, people, because you're like, why is the world like it is? And then if you read history, you'll realize it all came about like as like a domino effect. That's why determinism, right? It's like, oh, do you believe in free will? No, because one thing led to the next thing, led to the next thing, led to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's just like history. It's like, why are we here where we are now? Well, because 1,000 years ago,
a million years ago.
Yeah,
actually.
all these people did
yeah.
all these things. So it's like, you just gotta read your history and then know where you are.
True.
Final thought. That's why Graham Hancock says, if you control the past, you control the present, you control the future. Because if you control where we've been, you say like, oh, we know the truth, and the people in the present will be like, oh, you guys have authority, and then we can direct the future. So it's like conspiratorial, he believes. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's more like circumstance, like it just happened this way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's like a grand cabal of people who are like trying to rule the world. Maybe it is, but like
I
highly doubt that, because you'd have like insane collusions. Like, people would have to agree.
Yeah.
And people generally don't agree.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Yeah. Do you think there could be like a group of like, let's say the group of 7 who like masterly control the whole world? They fluctuate stock markets, like release biblical
I don't
texts.
think so.
Yeah, it makes no sense. That's very difficult to do. If there is, amazing. Don't kill me. Give me money. But
But even if there is, I mean, we've had more freedoms today than we had, in a sense. Like
for yesteryear, yeah, for sure. No, yeah, of course. I think
So
that's
I'm
in
like-
large part due to like free thought and like
yeah, I know that's what I mean.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
I don't.
very
I
liberal
think that.
rules.
Yeah, I don't like. Why would we be talking about them? If they existed, they would try to like quiet everything as whatever's out there, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
the internet
you'd
would
have
be
a
one of the
communist.
worst things for
Like
them.
it would be yeah, exactly. It would be like if there really was like a grand group of like 7, who control the earth.
Hmm.
We'd live. The entire world would be kind of like North Korea.
Yeah.
We'd rule under one thing, and
Yeah.
then we'd believe one thing.
Right. Yeah,
Which I don't
that would be
know,
North
that's-
Korea. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Because like people like they look at this and they're like, "Oh, it's so disgusting! Like how could not our conversation? Like it's so disgusting how the world's come and like the 1%er." I think it's brilliant. If you actually like took some time to realize like the majesty, the effort that went into putting everything together,
Yeah.
it's like insane. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I think that's what Jesus was talking about too. See, I've converted. See, I think that's what Jesus is talking about too, where he's like, you have to see life as like a beautiful gift. He didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't
Yeah.
actually say that.
Right.
But like, he was saying stuff like, the kingdom of God is right in front of your eyes. You just need to be able to see it.
That's
you need the eyes to see it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So that's like the
So that's
old
like-
school translation, traditional. My colloquial
Yeah,
version
yeah.
is like.
That's
see
just
the
like
gift.
yeah, because if you learn from those 13 years,
Mm.
if you learn from those monks or whatever.
We'll save that one for next week's combo because
Oh right, you want to do that.
I also read.
Well, we'll
13
mention that tomorrow, next week.
Yeah,
whatever.
I also read 13 Lost Years of Jesus before reading the Bible, so that was an interesting one.
Mm.
We'll get into that next
Okay.
week.
Cool.
But yeah, it's pretty awesome where we are today, like the effort that went into all this. So if there is a cabal, amazing. If there's not, makes sense.
Okay.
Because imagine the work that would go into ruling everyone.
Yeah.
Could never do it.
No.
I really don't believe it. Like conspiracy people like to believe in group out group. This is why I
There's
gravitate-
there's something to why we think that too.
yeah.
right?
This is why I like Joe
Right.
Rogan because he always says it. He's like, it's just sexy to believe that there's like
Right, yeah,
a
'cause-
crazy conspiracy against you, and
Right,
that you're the
where-
only one that's come up with this revelation.
Right, right. It's like an answer to like I don't have any control,
Yeah,
and this is the way they're
Just
taking
accept
away
the
my
fact-
control. They're
yeah.
the ones you're.
that we have a common enemy. Because like if you set your
Yeah.
goal, see the scariest thing in life is to realize that there's nothing set in stone in life, and you make your own decisions. Nobody can deal with that
Mhm.
because it's like, what do you mean? I have total freedom. Wait, I can do whatever I want. I can kill myself if I want, but nobody wants to come to terms with that, right? Because it's scary. It's
Yeah.
like, so then what do you do with your life? Your life's meaningless. You hit Nietzsche's nihilism, right? But yeah, I wonder if my cousin always makes jokes. He's like, "Oh, you sound like a prophet now," but it's like, yeah, because I've just read a bunch of stuff. I'm just presenting it in a way.
Right.
But see, the only thing is like false idols. Like, I'm not trying to create
It's like
a
yeah.
horde of people to give me money. And, like, it'd be so awesome if you donated to our Patreon, though.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great. But no nefarious means here. All right, we'll end it there. Rambling.
Yeah.
Check out our GTA 5 sessions.
Yes. Cool.
Coming soon. Take it easy.
Peace.
Bye.
Knowledge.
No.